For the first time since the ousting of Bashar al-Assad, Syrians have held a parliamentary election. But in a country still scarred by conflict and division, representation remains deeply uneven. Just 7 women have been elected, far below the target set by authorities. The election was not a direct vote by the Syrian people. Instead, around 10,000 hand-picked voters from across the country participated through local electoral bodies. That's a fraction of Syria's 25 million population, raising concerns about how democratic this process truly was. Authorities had promised that at least 20% of seats would go to women, a symbolic step toward inclusion. But in major regions such as Damascus, Aleppo, Dara, and Idlib, no women won seats in the early results. Analysts say President Ahmad al-Shara may now use his power to appoint lawmakers to boost the number of women in parliament. Under Syria's transitional rules, 2/3 of the 210-seat parliament are chosen through these indirect elections. The remaining 1/3, about 70 members, are appointed directly by the president. One of the new parliament's main goals will be to draft a new constitution and prepare for future direct elections. President Ahmad al-Shara, once known by his jihadist alias Ahmad al-Jawlani, rose to power after Assad's overthrow last year. A former leader of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, a group that evolved from an al-Qaeda affiliate, Shara now promises political reform and inclusion. Still, critics question whether a government led by a former militant can deliver true democracy. Officials argue that direct elections are not possible under current conditions. They cite the millions of displaced Syrians, the lack of official documents, and fears of a return to old regime tactics.
The expected time for holding elections in the governorates of Raqqa and Hasaka is the same as the expected time for implementing the March 10th agreement. Therefore, we do not have an expected time, yet due to the delay in implementing the March 10th agreement. Therefore, we cannot set timetables for Raqqa and Hasaka. I believe that the issue of Sweda is also linked to these matters, but the trend is positive, and we are serious about having supplementary elections to complete all members of the People's Assembly in all Syrian areas.
Speaking from a polling center in Damascus, President Shara called the vote a historic moment for Syrians. He said the elections mark a new beginning and are essential to rebuild the nation.
The task of rebuilding Syria is a collective task. It is not entrusted to a specific person or a few individuals. Rather, all Syrians must contribute to rebuilding their country. Therefore, Syria's finest people would also be represented in the People's Assembly, and many details are yet to be discussed, including laws that remain stalled in Syria and require votes, and budgets that also require votes. There are many pending issues in Syria that we need to move forward with. And so we did our best to reach the shortest possible opportunity as quickly as possible to fill this void.
As Syria attempts to rebuild after years of civil war and political turmoil, its first parliamentary vote marks a cautious step forward. But with low participation, limited representation, and lingering mistrust, the path toward genuine democracy remains uncertain.